Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. This morning I'm going to take y'all on a quick garden tour update. It's been a little while now since we've had a few heat spells and rain spells and all that, so we've got some good growth going and I'm going to give y'all a little update. Papa Bear kind of put together a random tire here just with basil, stevia, and some flowers. But y'all, our tomatoes over here are kicking butt since the last time I had y'all over here. I had been so worried about them just because we got so much rain right after we planted them. But they're really starting to come into it. They're not doing quite as well as the ones in the grocery store, but those tomato plants, as y'all will see, are right under the pole light. So they literally have 24/7 light on them. The last time that we planted some over there in the wedding bed, they just went absolutely crazy. We've got all of our beans. This is probably the best that we've done on beans since we've tried to plant them. Usually critters just eat them to pieces. But luckily, the critters have been staying out of this garden. My bottom garden down by the barn is not so lucky. But our pepper plants really aren't doing much over here. They have not had much growth at all. They're still alive, obviously, but I'm not very happy with them. But again, the peppers that are in the buckets in the grocery store are doing awesome. Then we've got our zucchini. These guys have really taken off. We've got one here, so in about 5 minutes that'll be ready to pick. If you know, you know. Got a couple more growing on this one. Got a couple growing on here. And then it looks like we have one on this one down here as well. So we will be absolutely swimming in zucchini soon. But it's pretty cool because we've never had them ready this soon in the year before. And we'll actually might be able to get the produce stand out the gate selling our own zucchini. Like we've mentioned in the past, if we're not growing it ourselves, we're buying it from local farmers in the area, except for the peaches, and we just followed the peach trail throughout the year. But I'm trying to think, what day is it? Today is Wednesday. This video will post Thursday. So Friday of this week, the day after this video is airing, it will be our first day set up in Bedford with the produce stand. Rock garden here is getting a little weedy, but Papa Bear's basil are doing great. And the little squash plants are finally starting to come into it a little bit. A little honeybee in this one. Enjoying. But we bought, I forget where we bought those squash, but they came in like tiny little 4-packs. And Papa Bear just doesn't think that the roots can really start to develop in that. They just don't have enough space. So it's almost like they've been stunted. And we bought 4 other bell pepper plants that you can't even see because they had been planted at the same time the rest of this garden had. And they didn't grow, they didn't die, but they stayed that tall. But I'm very happy with this, the way this garden's coming. We gotta do some weed control along the side and along the outline of it, but nothing too pressing. And let's get over to the grocery store. Oh, first, Papa Bear has been working on building us a grape arbor. And he kind of got started getting one of the posts up, and then probably 10 other projects popped up that took priority. But we've already got the grape starts. They're ready to be planted. So look out for that video soon. We've never tried growing grapes before. No idea how it will go, but you know, doesn't hurt to experiment. We're over in the grocery store. As y'all can see, my once beautiful strawberry bed is still a mess. Our hanging basket's doing great. So are our marigolds. And the strawberries that we did plant this year to replace the destroyed crop, they are coming up pretty nicely. It's just, you can kind of tell by all the upset dirt there, these chipmunks have been out of control. I set up a trap, no luck. I think the trap's just a little faulty. But, and then my out of control weed patch, or mint patch, I'm sorry. Candied corn and basil, and then our random raised bed here. It's got gladiolas, coxcomb, and a couple cherry tomato plants. I overcrowded my first bucket and we just relocated them over here. And they do have some tomatoes on them. Like I said, my pepper plants over in the big garden, not growing well at all, and these are just kicking butt and taking names. No peppers on this one or that one yet, y'all, but my banana peppers, look at all these, guys. If you enjoy banana peppers, definitely get you a couple plants and plant them. They do awesome in buckets. The ones that we grew last year, it was the same way. They just produced like crazy. And then this is the wedding bed that I was talking about with the tomatoes. It's right under that pole light that stays on all night. As you can see, starting to put on some tomatoes. I think that, oh, actually, just saw these. So now I believe every one of the tomato plants here, and there are 8 of them, they all have tomatoes growing. And then, oh my goodness, y'all, my cabbage. Look at this sadness. So you can tell something's gotten in there, some type of insect, and just destroyed them. Same with my sunflower that just voluntarily grew. What can you do? By the time I noticed that they were getting into it, it was really too late already. And this was our first year planting cabbage. So we'll try her again eventually. Got some more basil and some habanero peppers. We realized that when we do our tomato juicing, we like adding just a little bit of habanero in there just to give it a little bit of heat. It's delicious. And then this is our jalapeno pepper, and I don't see where it is right now, but I did notice yesterday that it did have a little pepper starting to grow. And my pride and joy, y'all, my cucumber trellis. I am just so happy with how this has turned out this year. And we've already harvested probably, I don't know, 6 or 7. But they're growing like crazy. I'm putting on. And they're actually trellising. Beyond happy. And these marigolds will eventually end up getting shaded out by the tomatoes, because these are going to be just monsters. We're going to have some major growth here. Our asparagus is pretty well down to first years again. I don't know. I've just not been happy with this year and last year's harvest. And it's been because of the weather, y'all. They start to grow so early, and then we get a cold snap and it just devastates them. We've already harvested some of our garlic scapes. But yeah, y'all, that's the grocery store. Said my mulleins growing tall and flowering. But let's go down to the mum pad. I haven't checked them out yet this morning, y'all. It's funny. We were having issues with little critters getting in there the first couple of days after I planted them. And these are 300 mums, y'all. If you didn't watch the mum planting video, Momma Bear was whooped afterward. And then I come out the next morning and 6 pots are tipped over. The dirt's been gone through a little bit, and it was because we used that corn cob bedding as part of our growing medium. And it was, I don't know what it was, if it was birds, chipmunks, rabbits. We got a groundhog around here, 2 of them actually. But I started, whenever I would notice a pot was messed with, I would just start putting in the wood chips on top of it, on top of the soil. And that seems to have helped a lot. But y'all, it's too funny. See if I can get, they're hard to pull out by the corn. But with this cob bedding, there were pieces of corn in it. And they started growing like crazy in these mum pots. So I've had to come out here and, oh, they're everywhere. If I can get it just right, I'll pull it out and the actual piece of corn will come up with it. And it's one of those oddly satisfying things, but it's not going to cooperate now. But yeah, so I'm fighting that now. But I'd much rather just deal with weeding than critters down here knocking them over and causing a ruckus. And it doesn't look like any of them got into last night, so. Yeah, and these things grow so fast, y'all. So fast. I will weed these and come back a couple hours later, and I swear there will be new sprouts. But once the mums start growing, they'll shade them out and I won't have to worry about it. All right, I was playing around with the pot some more and I finally got one by the corn. But yeah, isn't that wild, y'all? They grow so fast. But it's really satisfying when you go to do some weeding and you pull it out by the root and the corn kernel. It's the small things in life, y'all. All right, I had to make myself walk away. It can get kind of addictive pulling them suckers out. But I'm thinking it's been just over a week since we've had them planted, so I'm thinking either tonight or tomorrow night I'll probably put some more Cluckies fertilize on them. Hopefully give them a little bit of a growth boost. It's going to be an interesting year with them because this is the first year out of the last 3 years that we've not started with the drip irrigation system hooked up. So I've had to do a lot of overhead watering, which they don't love. So hopefully they still grow nice and pretty and all that jazz. But we'll see. Down here, y'all, let me tell you. Our tomatoes, I don't know that I ever came down here and updated y'all on these but these are pineapple heirloom tomatoes. We just didn't have any more room up in the top garden. And we've got a whole bunch more zucchini planted down here. And I'm just not happy with it at all, y'all. These have been planted for over a week now, 2 weeks maybe. And they're putting on blooms, but they're just not getting any bigger. They've been fertilized a couple of times now. So I don't know. And then we've got some kind of either pumpkin or gourd volunteer plants popping up everywhere. So I reckon we'll just let those grow. See what they do. And I mentioned having a groundhog. And he had been leaving this garden alone until recently. Or look at that, y'all. 1, 2, that third one just died on its own. And then a few of the leaves have been chewed off that as well. And then we had a mystery plant that come with us from the greenhouse. That one's doing all right. but that one's had some leaves chewed off of it. Pretty darn upset over the cucumbers, because when we got these, it was really hard to find them, y'all, because it was getting towards the end of actual planting, veggie planting time. And we took what the greenhouse had left, and they weren't great. We've got some over here. It attacked this one. And then these 3 are still real small, but they could still come into it. I was just so happy with the trellis up in the grocery store that I could just imagine the cucumbers loving this A-frame to trellis up over and onto. So, I don't know. I don't think we're going to be able to replant them here midway through June already. Who knows? But we've got more squash over here. These are starting to really come into it a little bit more. They were pretty small when we planted them. So hopefully Mr. Groundhog stays away. I think it was in the mum planting video that I mentioned it. But when I was planting the mums that day, big old groundhog ran out, stopped not even 20 feet away from me, just stared me down, kept running, ran into the bottom garden, stopped, turned around and stared at me. I didn't have a gun on me, and Papa Bear wasn't home, so. But those 2 groundhogs, and I only know that there's 2 because our neighbors mentioned seeing 2 at the same time. But they're little terrors. They destroyed all of our sunflowers in the bottom garden last year, all of our green beans, and I don't know. We're gonna have to see what we can do about them. But back up here to the grocery store. It's still pretty early in the morning. Oh yeah, there's the, I see them now. Little jalapeno peppers coming on. A few of them. So excited. This is my favorite time. Well, I love fall. If we can get an actual true fall without it going straight to cold, I love fall. But this is my second favorite time of year. Really excited to see what all we can get put up this year, especially once the tomatoes in the big garden really take off. Last year we just had tomatoes coming out of our ears. We were giving them away to people just so that they wouldn't go to waste. But that's all I've got for you today. I just wanted to give you an update. Super excited that so many things are growing. And we'll be, like I said, we've got the cucumbers in there. They will be our first homegrown veggies this year. But chipmunk just ran by. Brave little suckers, aren't they? They're cute. I love to watch them, but they are so destructive. Anyway, getting me thrown off topic. We appreciate y'all watching. What's going on in your gardens? Are y'all already harvesting fruits and veggies and all the good stuff? Drop us a comment, let us know. And until next time, friends, keep on keeping on, because we love every single one of you, and Jesus does too.